Hey guys, I hope you're doing good today. I'm going to be talking about the Fear Street trilogy that's on Netflix right now. Non-spoiler review. Let's get it. Alright guys, so about 2 weeks ago, Netflix decided to release a series based on the R.L. Stine books known as... Did I say R.L. Charlie, it had. I don't think I made a mistake, but I'm just checking. So they released the first of 3 movies in a trilogy called Fear Street Part 1 1994, and as you may have been able to tell, it's set in 1994. So it's basically 3 films. It's Part 1 1994, Part 2 1978, and then Part 3 1666. Now, slight spoiler, it turns out this is more of a quadrilogy, if there's a word. I don't even know if there's a word like that, but this turns out to be a quadrilogy because there's a part 2 to the part 1 1994 that shows up somewhere in the middle of the part 3. I hope I didn't confuse you. I'm going to start off by saying that this is everything I wanted Goosebumps to be, and I'm referring to the 2 Goosebumps movies that were released, I think, in 2015 and then 2017 or 18. This is exactly what I needed those movies to be. Now, there are some people that may bring up the argument that, hey, Goosebumps was meant for a child demographic, whilst Fear Street was with the more mature demographic, and you do see that in the portrayals of the story and how everything plays out. But generally, I wanted Goosebumps to be a little more serious than it was. Like, Slappy was not nearly as scary as he was in the books. I literally used to have nightmares of him as a kid. That's how bad it was. And quite honestly, Goosebumps was the only reason I'd ever visited the library at a certain point in time. Like, it just, monster blood and stuff. It just was what it was. So if you had to ask me what it's about and what the synopsis is, this is about 2 towns, Sunnyvale, Shadyside. As the name suggests, Sunnyvale is well-to-do, Shadyside is cursed. Well, I shouldn't be doing quotation signs because they're actually cursed. And there is a legend surrounding that being of a witch in the 1600s known as Seraphia, who was killed and hung, and because she cut off her hand, she has a grip over the land that the hand is on, and the terror wouldn't stop until her hand was reunited with her body. So that's what a lot of this is really about. So with this adaptation, I like so much that they did. This is going to be for people that really like teen horror, but generally I find it to be a very good story that you'd appreciate watching. And the fact that it's a trilogy, you kind of want to keep knowing what goes on, and the payoff at the end is really, I'm satisfied, quite honestly. High marks for that. I wouldn't have any problems recommending it to you. Now, this is one of the horror movies that I really like for the fact that they were very bold with certain creative decisions and how they handle certain characters' parts, and I was really impressed. Admittedly, it was quite shocking to see some of these things play out on screen, especially in the first part, but the way it plays out in the end and that boldness is something that a lot of movies lack presently, and I was thoroughly impressed with what we got in this trilogy. Now, of the 3, if I had to pick a favorite, I'd honestly, it's a bit tough, but I would have to say part 1 was really good, because part 1 really kept me going. I was even going to watch it till the end anyway because I had to review it for you guys, but part 1 really had, you know, that boldness that I was really taken aback by, to be quite honest. To a large extent, I would have said the 1666 one. So part 1, like I've said, is based in 1994, and the only one that you really kind of know where things would end up with is part 2 1978, because there's a lot in part 1 that is said that pretty much sets up what part 2 is going to be, albeit with a few plot twists here and there, but it's something that you would really enjoy watching. And then what it does in part 3, the setup of the ending of part 2, is quite possibly the craziest thing. So they are tackling all sorts of elements like reincarnation and stuff, but when you kind of look at it in a deeper sense, it's not exactly reincarnation, because although you are seeing it from the perspective of the alleged Seraphia character, you kind of think that it is our main character who is Seraphia, who was reincarnated into present day, but it ends up just being more of a perspective thing. I hope I didn't confuse you. Even though you knew what was going to happen in 1978 and you kind of see what happens in 1994, The 1666 one was very interesting to me because I was watching it and I thought of the TV series Salem. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but a lot of it really centers on the Salem witch trials of 1692. So that's about somewhere 32, I'm doing my math very wrong here, but about 26 years back, but it's sort of loosely based on that, and I really like seeing, you know, that link. You know, that was just my personal observation. So would I recommend this for you to watch this weekend? Absolutely. Now, honestly, you might not want to start in the evening, although it's like the best time to watch horror movies, unless you plan to stay up till about, I don't know, maybe 3 a.m. depending on when you start, because these movies are almost 2 hours in length, the last one being the longest of the three. But you will really enjoy this, I am telling you. It is quite legitimately scary, and dare I say, it is probably a better film or a better series. No, okay, that may be a bit of a reach, but it matches up well with The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which honestly wasn't. There are the similarities there too as well. If you watch that movie, it's very similar, but between which was better, they have their strong spots, they equally have their weak spots, you know. But it's really great and I would recommend it. And yeah, so I'm done talking about it. Thanks so much for watching. Post your comments down below. Now tomorrow, before I forget, tomorrow I am reviewing Space Jam A New Legacy. I have watched it already, but I'm holding off on the review because I just want to see what Skip Bayless will say, and then I'll talk about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm your Dark Man. I'm out. Peace.